Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Outdoors, live with the Outdoors crew, another Monday afternoon where we all survived what was probably a fairly heinous day, at least for some of us. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you guys doing? In the chat, let us know down below. And on panel with me today, I've got John from A&J Outdoors and Mr. Grant McIntosh. Gentlemen, good afternoon. How are y'all doing today?
Doing good. Doing good.
I'm all right. Another Monday. It was tough, but it's over. So let's get this party started. Cheers.
All right, that's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
All right. See, we got Mr. Peter Orchard. Hashtag more Peter in the chat.
Yes.
Peter.
He's in. If you saw him on Twitter, he's in rare form at the moment. He's going to be a valuable person to have down in the chat. He's going to be tearing it up. I know.
Shanae.
There, he said it right there in the chat. Right there, he says that explains it all. He's about to start drinking a $12 beer. That sells it.
$12 beer. You spend too much money on beer, son. I get a 6-pack for $12. Shit.
What kind of beers?
Coke as always. Out of the A&J Outdoors glass.
What are you drinking at $12 a pop, Peter? Is that Chimay? You got the you drinking a little 1050?
Something.
We used to do a beer club in Corpus Christi, so we like we every now and then we like to jump into those craft beers.
I used to brew beer back in the day.
Yeah, Peter did. My other brother Luke did beer, I believe. Peter did mead, and his mead was freaking awesome.
Oh, 2 liter. Okay, so that's a little more than just a 12-ouncer. Okay, we'll give you that.
Oh, yeah, I just now got the notification. Thanks there, YouTube.
A little slow, aren't they?
Hey there, Janet. Good to see you.
Oh, Janet. Cheers.
Cheers, Janet. Peter, Elizabella Kirkpatrick.
Good to have you on with us.
All right. So, what are we talking about, Stanley?
All right, I'm kind of curious. Somebody brought this up earlier today, and I was kind of curious what everybody's thoughts are, because this is something that I actually have. I'm a little opinionated, and I talked to a couple people about it, and it turns out I'm not the only person who is opinionated about this. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of curious what everybody's thoughts here, see what everybody else's ideas on this are, and see if maybe we're misplaced, maybe I'm wrong, and it's that mentality of being an old guy and I'm just bitter and I hate the world or whatever. I don't know. But I'm curious, what are your thoughts? Is fishing better now than it was when you were a kid? Yes or no? Why or why not? What are your thoughts as to why that might be? I'm going to jump on that in a minute, but I'd like to start with you guys first. And it doesn't just extend to fishing. It's also hunting. I'm curious, fishing, hunting, was it better when you were a kid, or is it better now? Why or why not? And what's going on with that? Grant, I'd like to start with you on that.
Well, I did fish as a kid, not a whole lot. So as far as being a kid, I can't really say. I didn't start hunting until I was 18. So I've been hunting for 24 years?
Interesting.
With all that
24 years. And I'd say it's about the same for me, both. In the last 24 years, I don't think it's any worse. I think it might be better because I've learned a few things, if anything.
Okay.
All right. So I've got an opinion, but I
want to hear it.
There's a lot of background information to it. All right.
Yeah. This is going to be a story. Like anybody who has anything to say about this, there's going to be a story and a reason as to why. And that's kind of what I want to get to. I want the meat. I don't want just a yes or no. I want to know why you think that.
So some's better and some's worse. It depends on the fishery. So give you, for instance, I moved up with my dad to Augrey, Michigan in early 1980, right? And Augrey was the perch capital of the world. We would go out and fill buckets full of perch. You don't have a fish finder, none of the fancy gear, but you would go out there and literally fill 5-gallon buckets of perch. And then fast forward 2 decades to the early 2000s, I get back up there and hardly anybody's fishing perch. The perch are much more difficult to find in the lake, and people are using grass and stuff to even find a school of perch. Now they're still catching perch up there, especially the folks who fish there a lot are in the know. But it's not like you could just go out there and throw a stick and hit them like you could early on. But something we didn't catch the whole time I was there in the early 80s, walleye. Now you go out there and you can find walleye, right? So they stocked walleye. Okay, walleye for up there is a sexier fish than perch. And so they started stocking them. They've done a really good job of it. Saginaw Bay, and I know our folks up there from that area will chime in. Saginaw Bay has a very good population of walleye now. And I'm not saying it's related, but it probably is. But the perch population isn't near as good. So walleye fishing, better than it was back in the day in that area. Perch fishing, not as good as it was back in the day in that area. And there's one more. We used to dip what's called smelt. And it's a small fish that you would, when you get them, you just take some scissors, cut the head off, eviscerate them, clean the guts out, put them in some batter, fry them up, and eat them whole, bones and all. So they might, I don't know. Some people said weren't that great, but I thought they were awesome. Fry them and some French fries, and you got a feast. We would go out at night, and a certain time of year, they'd come in and try to get into the streams or be along the shoreline, and you just dip them. And again, you fill buckets, right? If the old guy was here, Steve is out right now. But if he was here, he had a story of where his brother and him filled the whole back of a pickup truck with these smelt one time when they were dipping smelt and gave it, they didn't waste it. They gave it to friends and family and all. Now you can't buy, you can buy frozen smelt in the store, but you can't go to Au Gres and dip a bucket of smelt. It's my understanding now, if you want to dip smelt, you've got to go up in the UP. So that's another fishery that back in the day, it was awesome. And it was a lot of fun. Just the idea of being out there in the dark with lights and people dipping. It was just it was an event. It was much more of an event than it was, hey, we're getting fish to eat. But you got fish to eat too during that event. And that's gone. So I think it really depends on the area and the species. Look, right? Is it easier to catch fish now? It should be. We got electronics that are like, hey, dummy, the fish are sitting right here. You know what I mean? We got electronics. We've got waypoints. So the technology to fish is much greater now than it was back then, right? Grandpa would go out there and just find the fish through time on water. And then he would realize, hey, in the spring, about this time of the year, I'd usually find this fish in this area, where nowadays, you don't have any of that time on water. We all work hard, and a lot of us don't get to fish a lot. But we have electronics that help cut down that learning curve of time on water. So that's my gist of it. That's where I'm going.
And I think that plays a lot into it. That's a portion of the conversation that I'm glad you touched on, because that was something that I really would like to allude to. I think that makes a big difference. The technology. My dad was telling me a story. He's got a rod hanging up in his garage, and it's this old 4/0 open face rod that they got hanging up there, and it's the first rod that my grandfather ever got with roller guides, and it was something to behold. A rod with guides that had little rollers on it. Yeah, that's for a serious fisherman. That is something that people use. And if we've got stories that we talk about my grandfather and my dad growing up, and I got to experience some of that when I was growing up. And the stories were, my grandfather kind of had to learn. He wasn't born and raised in Corpus Christi. He moved down here. And so he picked up fishing. And he went through the whole learning process, and he went through it back at that time, when it's not the learning process as it is today. So he kind of did some goofy things that make for some really fun stories. He got to the point where he was able to get himself a 4/0, a serious rod with roller guides. Today, that's not commonplace, but it's also, nobody's going to look at me with a rod with roller guides and be like, that dude. Yeah. Technology being where it's at. I went out fishing with my brother-in-law over the summer, and he's got like 3 fish finders on his boat. He's got the one up front, the one back, and the one for when he's running. So that technology makes a huge difference. Yeah. Being able for the ability for everybody and their mother to be able to go out and you can spend, whatever, a quarter of whatever your disposable income is, you can spend on a device that will take you exactly to the spot you need to go and show you exactly where the fish are. And we have the technology of a video platform to where you can hold in your hand a device that will teach you exactly what you need to do to get onto those fish. That's going to make a difference in the catching of these species. So I do think that the technology angle plays into it, where people complain about how, and I believe that's the direction this is going to go. In the chat, let me know what you think about this. Was it better when you were a kid? Is it better now? I feel like it was better when we were a kid, and I've got plenty of stories to tell, but I think that's technology is a big part of that, because, snapper is an excellent example down here. We don't have too many state water snapper spots. When snapper season opens, they get hit really, really hard. Yeah. So, the technology puts you right on them. They get fished out pretty quick, and then that's it. Game over for the season. You're going to be wading through a whole bunch of the little guys. Now, that having been said, back in the day, my grandfather's day, they used to bag out on snapper, and I hear all these stories about all the mountains of snapper they used to catch. The part that they don't really talk about is that these are probably 8 or 10 inch snappers that they were hauling on board.
Jesse kind of saying the same thing. Technology spoiled the fun and joy of fishing for me. So there you go.
There is definitely a skill to not having the technology. I'm not going to lie. I like the technology.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like it, but there's definitely some skill involved in not using the technology. Yeah, there's Sea Pro Fishing with Wayne. Sea Pro Fishing, he says, fishing is nowhere near what it used to be. That's how I feel about it. And the species that I like to talk about are, well, for one, the ones that to me are the most obvious down here are going to be like blue crab, croaker. You don't ever see those things in the way that it used to when I was a kid. But also, I hear stories about how my grandfather used to be able to go out in Corpus Christi Bay and catch tarpon. I have never seen a tarpon.
Wow. In Corpus Christi Bay? Wow.
Yeah, they used to catch them up at T-heads.
Hey, now we want somebody to tell you about the old times. There he is.
I appreciate, Mr. Hall and Ash here has had a very long day. He's doing some very respectable work, and I appreciate you coming and joining us, man. Wasn't expecting you.
There you go.
But always appreciate it.
Captain. Put that leg up. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Wayne is in. Good to see you, Wayne. Port Aransas used to be the tarpon capital of the world. Wow.
Yep. What's that hotel that's got they got a big tarpon scale hanging up with Roosevelt's signature on it or something? It's a tarpon scale the size of the dinner plate. In Port Aransas, it was Fitzgerald or something like that.
I couldn't tell you. That's before my time. I'm a young whippersnapper compared to all that.
So late to the chat, but topic of the day was fishing better when you were a kid?
Or is it better now? What are your thoughts on that? You got perfect timing.
Better now.
Really? That's opposite. I would think would go when they were a kid. I'm curious. So you got to expand on that.
Yeah.
In this area right here, as far as what I fish for, being walleye the primary fish, it's much better now than it ever was.
Now, I touched on that, Steve, earlier.
Fishing up in where I used to live in the Garden Peninsula up in the UP, that's a different story because it was really good when I was probably in my 20s to maybe 30s. And then the DNR released all these cormorants, and the cormorants then became, they just gorged themselves on perch. So, how do you define it? Yeah, if you're a perch fisherman, it was better when I was a kid, but right now, being a walleye fisherman, it's by far better than it's ever been up here in the Great Lakes.
That's exactly what I said. When I was up there in the early 80s, it was all perch out of Au Gres, and we would get tons of perch. And then I come back in the early 2000s, and there's hardly any perch, and it's all walleye. So, So one's greater or better now, but one's not. And it's all due to management. So it wasn't really technology that drove that. Yeah, it's easier now to find the fish. And I'm not hating on it. I've got technology on my boat. I think most of us who have boats do. I'm not hating on technology because for somebody who gets a fish, 3 weekends out of a month, okay, you're going to learn that body of water really well. Technology used to, but for somebody who only gets it, I might go to a spot where I've fished twice in the last 5 years. So I'm going to lean on my technology to help me get to a point where I find some fish to fish. So it goes both ways.
I'll even expand on that as to, of course, I lived in the UP when I was a kid growing up. And I can remember that people would say that the walleye fishing was better up there than it was down in Lake Erie, because Lake Erie was just nothing but a bunch of trash. Detroit River was nothing but trash. Mm-hmm. That whole thing has changed. Detroit River is cleaned up. Lake Erie is cleaned up, and the walleye have just come in there and just exploded. Now, there's still good walleye fishing up in the Upper Peninsula where I used to live, but the Detroit River, Saginaw Bay, and Lake Erie is phenomenal.
So Ben Covarrubias here. I want to touch on that just a second here, Steve. Ben Covarrubias says fishing was better when he was younger, and I feel the same way for a lot of the same reasons. He says 1977 to 1990, there were fewer regulations, and we could keep 12-inch trout, 42-inch reds, and good-sized golden croakers. Now, the golden croakers ones kind of pisses me off because we go out fishing during shrimp season, and the shrimpers are out there, and they're catching up all the shrimp offshore, and then they cull their catch about 9 o'clock in the morning. When we're out there, that's when you want to be on the shrimp boats. They're culling their catch. That attracts everything in, so you want to be there for that. And man, like the ocean will be completely littered with golden croaker. I mean, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of them behind each boat. It's a wake for miles of golden croaker. And I mean, I understand the industry needed for, shrimping and everything else. And I know that there's probably not a whole lot you can do about that. I don't know. I don't have a solution to this. It's not like I can point at anything and be like, this is what we need to do. I'm not going to, stand on any kind of ground or anything needs to be changed. But that's very disappointing. And croaker is a good eating fish. And it's something that you could be catching a lot more. It would be a lot of fun for kids. It'd be like a lot of the same way that we do whiting and everything. And that's just non-existent now because of what I believe to be the shrimpers. So I think the commercial fishing, we talked about that before, is the reason why these regulations were put into place. I think that hurts recreational fishing, and I think that's unfortunate. And that's one of the reasons why I think it was better back then, is because, I used to be able to catch these species that I can't catch now because size regulations don't permit me to. So that's kind of where my ground is that I stand on, is that I was back then, a 12-inch fish looked different to what it looks like to me now. I feel like it was better back then. It's probably better now, but that's my reasoning why, is we were at least able to catch a little bit more. John, are you feeling the same way on that one, or at least you understand where I'm coming from?
Again, I think it depends on the area, but there's some places where fish were depleted, and that's the purpose of those regulations, to give folks a chance. That's why they upped the size. We just had that freeze. We saw videos of the impact of that freeze in the lower bay and the trout especially. So Texas Parks and Wildlife says, hey, you're not going to keep as many, and they have to be larger to keep. We're not going to allow you to keep those smaller ones. It's an adjustment based on the situation, and I think sometimes that's a good thing.
I can't argue with that.
It can be mismanaged, but sometimes they can do a good job of it, and that's the example. And I did want to point out, Steve, earlier, I already talked about smelt and how you and your brother fill in the back of a pickup truck with smelt is the reason we don't have any more smelt left.
Yeah, he was kind of a glutton. That's back about mid-70s, 74, 75. Yeah.
Back in the good old days.
Yep. That's about the time you were in Pampers, weren't you, John?
74, 75. No, I was out by then. I was 9 or 10 years old, so I was out of Pampers.
Yeah, Danny Baker.
Go ahead, Stanley.
He says the same thing that you guys are saying. I actually appreciate that everybody has the same kind of approach to it. The fishing is only better for him now because his skill level has gone way up since then. I can't argue with that. You make a hell of a point. My point being that I used to be able to catch so much more when I was younger, and I've heard stories of being able to see so much more, the tarpon being the one that really stands out to me. Yeah. But I can't argue with that. I mean, it is more fun now, the things that I'm able to do versus what I was able to do just, 8 years ago. I've learned a lot since starting the channel.
That's a really good point, because if you're just going out there and fishing 3 or 4 times a year, you know, you're only gaining that. But when you become a YouTuber who wants to do fishing videos, you research the fish much more. You research the bait. You research the rigs. You research the equipment. You get with other like-minded people that do the same thing. So, yeah, you're probably a better fisherman now. I know I'm a way better fisherman now than I was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, it was put some bait on a hook, throw it out there in the lake, and sit and hope something swims by and eats it. You know what I mean?
I can tell you how it used to be for me. I'm going to go back probably 30 years ago.
That wasn't very long for you.
We used to, if we wanted to catch some walleye, we had a bottom bouncer and a crawler harness, and we just threw it out the side of the boat, put it in the rod holder, and drifted. That's how we fished for walleye. The way that things have evolved for me, it's like now we'll do that if we have to. And I think there's a video a while back where our motor quit, and that's exactly what we did. But now it's like you've got the electronics, you've got rod trees, you've got line counter reels, you've got all this technology, all this stuff that we didn't have 30 years ago that definitely help us put more fish in the live well than it did back then. It used to be I was happy if I could come home with 3 walleye. Now, if I go out and it's 3 walleye, it's like, damn, Chris, you fucked up.
Blame the boy, huh? I'm still happy with 3 walleye. I haven't got to that level of walleye fishing that you're at. If I come home with 3 walleye, I'm happy with that right now. One of these days, when I spend the whole summer up there,
is a good, you know, that's plenty to eat for supper. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, that's always my goal.
John, if we're going to travel 2 hours, we really want to catch.
Yeah.
Catch.
Hey, that's my feeling when I go to the coast too. Like Danny or Sunfish Assassin's talking about, he catches and releases a lot more now. And my freshwater fishing is probably 95% catch and release here in Texas. Catfish, crappie, whatever, bass, whatever. I typically catch and release. But if I'm going to drive 3 hours to the coast, potentially drag my boat down there, pay for a place to stay down there, you can believe if I catch legal trout, legal redfish, I'm bringing them home because we're going to eat some fish. But the rest of the year when I'm fishing freshwater, I'm not keeping none of those fish. So to me, it kind of balances out.
I'm doing a lot more catch and release these days. I put a picture out on Twitter today that kind of sums all that up. Like, I've got a pretty good freezer full of fish right now. And so I still catch for dinner. I still want like fresh fish for dinner and stuff like that. But I am a lot more picky. As a, you know, you might not think that by some of the videos we put out, by some of the things that we keep and cook.
But you're not keeping a bunch of them.
That's true. I'm not.
But I would tell you this: most people, like when I was fishing the channel there, when I was in Florida Keys, that channel at the back of the house, along there where I was catching mangrove snapper, there were a bunch of those Bermuda chub. Most people would appreciate that you came and caught all those and ate them, just to get them out of there.
That's what I'm saying.
Just got to tip the glass to Mike, $5 donation.
Oh, shit.
Thanks, Mike.
There you go.
Mike, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
You northerners and your walleye. I don't even want to talk bad about walleye because I love it up there, but they're not much of a fighter, okay, when you're trolling. I'm just saying that.
We got perch down here. You guys want to come down and get into some perch?
Not real perch.
Kind of perch, not real perch, pinfish.
Yeah. There is one actual perch species in Texas, and it's the log perch. It's in the rivers, and usually it's about that big. But other than that, there's no other actual perch species in Texas.
Jeff Bottom makes a good point. Catch more nowadays, but I think in the old days, folks, where'd that go? Less folks and fewer pleasure boaters everywhere make it more enjoyable. I think so too. It's like anybody now that's got a boat is out there and wave runners and all that. They're just disrupting. And it's their day on the water, but my God, you got to be so damn close to my boat when you go by.
Yeah. The problem, look, we're going to have that issue. More and more people are getting on the water. And I know people are going to hate this, but until they make some kind of requirement where they got to learn the rules of the water, i.e. licensing, That's not going to change. There's going to be people running right beside you. It's supposed to be here in Texas 50 feet away. You're not supposed to come within 50 feet. You're not supposed to ride circles around another vessel. There's all kinds of rules that are there. It's just these people. I can walk into a store where they sell boats and buy, or jet skis, and buy one and go put it on the water. There's no requirement for me to learn the proper way to do anything.
Well, I can tell you that I've had a jet skier go by so close that the spray went into my boat.
You're absolutely right about the amount of recreational fishermen out there. Recreational boat owners has exploded the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I would also liken that to, I would also say that YouTube has also done the exact same thing, to where now anybody with a boat or a fishing pole is now not only a fisherman, they're also an influencer. So
that's true. It's true.
A lot of that.
Sunfish says, I'll put up shell crackers against any fish, but I haven't ever ate walleye. So any of the sunfish family of fish are typically good eating. Yellow perch, if you can get into them, are one of the best eating. And then walleye, crappie. For me, it's hard for me once you get to that level to differentiate which ones are actually the best as far as freshwater fish. And a lot of it depends on the water they come from, too.
Yep. And that's kind of why now, kind of like right now, we're not doing any fishing. It's just so friggin' hot. Water temperatures are hot. Even if you would catch walleye or catch anything right now, it's like mush. So we're just not really going out fishing right now.
Yeah,
we're kind of in the same boat. I'm taking a little bit of a break thanks to that hurricane. Real quick, talking about YouTube and all that stuff, just a little FYI for anybody here who does a YouTube channel. I'm going to announce a little thing that I'm not supposed to be talking about, but I'm going to do it just for you guys. YouTube has, or TubeBuddy. If you don't have TubeBuddy, if you're interested in it at all, there's a link in the description down below. I've got a discount for anybody who's got some, they're curious about it, and that discount is not live yet, but I can get it for you if you're interested. Hit the link down below and hit me up, and I'm happy to do whatever I can to help you out with that. Something that I just heard about today, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it on just a little bit before they are announcing it. Now, Peter says, here's another interesting one. So this is back to the species that we were used to do. We used to do as kids that we're not able to do anymore. He says you can't find mussels on the jetties anymore. Still bitter about that, and I totally agree. We used to be able to get those green mussels like you would get at restaurants. You find them in like Oregon and stuff like that. I think they're a Thailand product, and they're not natural here for whatever reason. They were able to move in. We used to collect those as a kid, and that was freaking amazing. They'll fill a 5-gallon bucket with them. A hurricane took them off one year. I think it was Hurricane Brett in like '98, and we've never seen them since. But man, back in the day, that was amazing getting those things.
So Wayne's talking about going out fishing with no camera or anything, catching several species, 7 different species. Yeah, sometimes, you got to do those trips where, and Steve, I've seen you do these too. You got to do that trip where it's just a fishing trip. You're just going out there to relax and fish. You're not worried about, I need to get a video and I need to do that. I think those are important trips too. So yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think that's a good idea. Mental health.
You got to have the ones that clear your head.
Yep.
Mental health days.
Mike
Mike's talking crap about his weather.
Mike brings up a good point. He said, but at cool 80 degree during the day and in the 50s at night, you don't have mushy fish. Well, I'd like to see 80 during the day and 50 at night here, because we're still like in the 90s. And I bet you during the night, it's probably in the 80s. It's just so freaking hot and muggy. I'll be glad when it cools down.
Yeah. Welcome to Texas weather.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I did a little bit of fishing and no filming Friday night. Went down to the creek and caught a few bass and sunfish.
But you need to do some filming.
Yeah, you're the exact opposite. It's time for you to get back into it and get some videos out there. I miss I miss my updates. I miss live streams. I miss everything that you were doing.
Yeah.
If you can't get excited over Sea Pro Fishing's intros, probably the best fishing intro of the people I watch. His intro, man. Gosh.
Yeah.
I want to go fishing with Wayne.
Right? We got to do a Florida trip, guys. I've been saying that. So it's Steve.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Now, Wayne, his boat, he can fit 2. So we're going to have to break it into group. Like, you 2 go this time, then us 2 will go that time.
Well, I already told you guys how we take care of this whole problem. We
I
all
know.
We get on Floyd's boat, Wayne included, and we go fishing as a group. That's either 6 of us. Easy on Floyd's boat.
Floyd really targets as a kingfish a lot. I noticed that.
I'm fine with that.
That'd be fun for a day. I want to catch some other stuff to eat.
I'll eat kingfish.
Well, do you like catching mahi-mahi? Do you like catching?
I love mahi-mahi.
Tuna?
Yes, sir.
Love tuna.
He catches it. What I got the problem with is I want to go try some like yellowtail snapper, some grouper, or stuff like that, and I can't convince him that we need to slow that boat down.
Down somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I'll bet you the 6 of us or 5 of us could talk him into it, though.
I actually think this is where is he at? Why is he not in the chat? I want to have this conversation. I guess you guys, I don't know who we need to talk to, whatever. I feel like we do need to push this and make this. Florida needs to be the next thing anyway that we're doing. We've done Saginaw, we've done Gulf Coast. Now we have to take this a little bit around more. Florida's the next best choice here.
Yeah, you guys did the Texas thing, and I'm sorry I missed out, but
we have to do it again.
Love to do the Florida thing, and get Wayne involved with us too.
He's busy building that, or what's his name's busy building that house up in the mountains. I've been following him along on Facebook.
Yep.
So one thing that Wayne says here, and this one kind of stands out to me because I take I don't do this approach, and I would encourage every single person to do a different approach if this is the mindset. So I'm going to pick on you for a second, Wayne, but it's because I love what you do. So I feel like I don't do trips that I used to enjoy because it won't net a video. Need to do more fishing with my son. Now, fishing with the son, first and foremost, I mean, that's what it's about. You need the family time. And it can be difficult. Like, it's already exponentially difficult when you are fishing and filming. That is literally doing 2 things at once. That is 2 completely different disciplines that you are combining. And that is a marathon. That's you're wearing yourself out doing that. So adding the element of like fishing, filming, and family time, that trifecta is exceedingly difficult. So I totally understand, and I'm not referring to that. However, if you're talking about fishing trips that won't net a video, like as far as species or something like that, I say do it and film it regardless. I say put that on video because some of those some of those can be the special ones that stand out. And I'm not specifically referring to like eating poop fish, but there are things that can be that are exceptionally valuable filming some of those that you might not think are valuable. We always talk about doing what was it last week? We were talking about making a video on how to read a measuring tape. And it's like, that sounds kind of ridiculous. But the more we think about it, no, there's actually some value in that idea. And I say it's the same thing for what you're talking about too. If there's some fishing that you feel like, I don't want to film it because it's not going to net a video, I say the exact opposite. I say make that a video because that could be a very valuable video.
Yeah, but family always first. Take your boys out fishing, make those memories. And if you can't afford it, cool. And that goes back to, we've talked about this before. Why am I making videos? It's because someday I'm going to be gone, and this is what my kids can see. This is what my grandkids can see if YouTube's still around. We don't have those 8mm projectors anymore, so this is what we're doing.
Peter's in. He's got a drone.
Ooh, he aged himself with that.
Hey, he's a good camera guy too. That would not be an invaluable thing to have. An unvaluable thing to have.
Hey, Stanley, Pond Life with Mosier Boy asked a question. I don't know if you caught it.
Yeah, he was asking about flounder fishing. I believe he's in Houston or going to Houston, something like that. I remember you were doing that, Mo. I'll tell you what, though. I'm the absolute wrong person to ask. I have caught one flounder in like the last 15 years. I'm sorry, I'm not good at it. And I'm not even going to, I have a different way. If I'm going for flounder, I'm not fishing for them. I'm just going to go down and spear them. I take the easy route.
Yeah, and I'm not a flounder. I would love to catch more flounder. I don't. So you don't want to ask me how to do it. So hopefully your bud that's offering to take you flounder fishing knows how to take you flounder fishing. Hopefully that works out for you.
Yeah.
Lonesome Not I said something about I needed to get down to Florida but I might want to stay there. Well, I have already checked to see if my drinking water license reciprocated into Florida, and it does not. But
does it in Texas?
I haven't checked Texas.
What?
Yeah, well, really. I told you.
One of my operators groups, one of the guys posted a job for the Florida Keys, and I was like, damn. And he posted his whole plan, and it's right on the water, just beautiful place to work. I was like, damn.
Good one, Mike.
If you knew Peter, you'd be saying the exact opposite, but then you'd be giving him the super chat. None of us want that.
Cheers, Mike.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to that. Appreciate you, man.
Mike always
and
makes
Peter, I appreciate you too.
That's funny. Yeah, no, Florida. We actually, because me and Audrey are getting closer to the retirement time, and we actually looked at a possibility of Florida, but the cost of living is like, we got the coast here in Texas that's a lot cheaper to stay at than the Florida. Yeah, you might not get some of the same water. You might have to go a little further out to get certain species, but it's more affordable. Plus, we got the place up in Michigan in Eau Gray that's going to be our summertime hangout. So we'll be snowbirds.
You know what you'd be kind of interesting here. I'm just like, I'm brainstorming, and I've got like this thought on this. So if we all went down to Florida and did this, also just, diarrhea about this ideas here. But first off, I do put in a vote for Peter being a filming and drone guy. But for two, as a wild card thought here, I think that Mike should narrate this series of videos or whatever.
There you go.
I kind of like the idea of him being the narrator for this.
They might get demonetized if you did that.
That's true. Or it would be so much work editing that video.
You're not supposed to step on them, Peter. You're supposed to gig them, right?
Yeah, right. You're doing that all wrong.
C-Pro's got to run.
Dude,
man. Sorry to hear that, brother. We know a lot of folks now in our realm that are dealing with that. So take care of yourselves. Take your meds.
Really sorry to hear that, man. Hope you feel better.
Yeah, do what the docs tell you.
Absolutely. There you go, Mo. You want some advice on it? Mr. Lonesome Not I here has got some advice for you on flounder. Says small DOA jigs. I agree with that one. I've heard that before with the paddle tails. Don't drag the bottom with them. He does a slow jig retrieve just off the bottom. That is very, very similar to the things that I do and that I have been told. I just didn't feel qualified to say that.
Look at the post right above that, the chat right above that from Mike.
He said he brainstormed. Yeah, and I stand by that.
That's all.
Again, like I don't need to be saying this stuff. You need to be the narrator.
Can you imagine, though, if you would take the four of us, add Wayne, and go on Floyd's boat? I don't know if anybody would catch any fish. We'd all be so busy filming one another.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I will say the person who would focus on fishing the most, that guy right there, because Grant will be like, I ain't worried about no damn camera. I'm fishing. Right, Grant?
Yeah. So
definitely.
Anybody who's wondering where the Grant videos are, the thing about Grant that I realized this last couple of fishing trips, he's the hardest working fisherman that I've ever met in my life. And he'll be sitting there, he'll be fishing, and he'll film and just do his thing. And then as soon as like the fishing happens, as soon as he's catching, or if he's not catching fish, he's not filming because he's working his ass off trying to get into them. When he gets into them, That camera goes by the wayside because he's catching fish. And that is from sun up till sundown.
Yep.
And that's the way it really should be, right? Really?
Hey,
And there's a balance.
it absolutely should be, but it wears you out. Grant wears me out, and that's not the easiest thing to do.
And he didn't shoot most of that video that he had. If you want, his better half was the camera person for a lot of that.
Is she on the live on the stream tonight, Grant? Is she backstage?
She's messing with our puppy and cooking supper.
Okay.
She's listening though. She's got her earpiece in. She can hear
Hi,
you.
Janet.
Hey, Janet.
Janet. She's ready to move anywhere. She'll move to Michigan. There she is.
Anywhere.
Michigan, Florida, Texas.
Maybe one of these days soon.
That's why he doesn't have a video, is because I was in charge of recording.
No.
I have a video. You did most of the recording.
That's the only reason he has a video, yeah.
Yeah, really.
And the footage that you got was good footage, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Honey, what you
Patiently
catch?
filmed.
Fish. A shark.
Yeah.
Hey, honestly, I'd forgotten I even caught that hardhead until I watched Stanley's video. I'd forgotten all about it.
Yeah, and I wasn't there for that, so I didn't even. When you got that shark, I was like, "Hey, he got his first fish finally." I didn't even know about the hardhead. I was going to ask you, Grant, since we're just talking now. Coming to Texas, what was one thing on your trip down here that you were like, "Yep, that's Texas"? Was there something that just like, "Yep, that"? When I
Like that's the
Texas,
thing you're expecting to see.
that's what I imagine when I imagine Texas.
I mean, just the empty fields. But I mean, I lived in Texas. Janet said Whataburger.
Whataburger.
Yes.
Yep, that's Texas.
They were everywhere. But no, my mom went to nursing school in Killeen, which is close to Fort Hood.
Yep.
So I was there. I actually went to first, second, and third grade in Texas.
Oh, well, yeah, you're a little whooper.
But that was a long time ago. Yeah. But
yeah, long time ago.
yeah, just the dry desert stuff.
The openness. What about the size?
Oh yeah, we were like 6.5 hours out of our 14 hours was not in Texas. The rest was in Texas.
Now,
Grant,
what was something that struck you as like you didn't expect or surprised you about Texas now when you came down?
The FM station, we'd been listening to XM probably 10 hours. And it was like, let's see what's on FM. It was nothing but Spanish. Every station was Spanish.
I will tell you that's not true, but yeah, there are a lot of Spanish stations. Yes, you're right.
Sí, pero estoy mucho español aquí.
What about wade fishing? Did you expect it to be the way Stanley Orchard introduced you to it, where you're out there up to your neck
Get your
fishing?
butt
Did
kicked
you
in the
expect
surf.
that?
I really wasn't, but my boss at the water plant, he's like, you were in the Gulf of Mexico up to your neck, shark fishing. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
I said, Stanley said they wouldn't bite us, so I was okay.
Never believe that guy, okay? Never believe him. They will bite you.
Grant,
yeah, that was awesome. I hadn't seen that. Usually when people wade fish, they're out, up to their waist on that second sandbar or whatever. I've never seen people out there. It's so deep that they got to jump when the waves come so they don't go underwater. One time, Grant's out there and all of a sudden, boom, he comes up. He doesn't have his hat on. It's floating away because the wave went over his head. So
Right.
yeah, it was pretty awesome to watch that. But we said that when we were on the beach, we're like, so if you hook a 6-foot shark out there, and what's going to stop him from just coming at you and biting your ass?
wait, how many times have you hooked a fish and have it run right at you? Like that never happens.
On the beach, it happens all the time. You're reeling and you're like, oh, he got off. Oh, wait, no, he's just swimming at me. That happens, right, folks? Right? Yeah, it does. And a shark, he's pissed. You got a hook in his mouth.
Okay, that's kind of true.
Stanley's got bait hanging off his hip in the water.
Right.
That's how you get them in. You got to chill them in.
Brandon, I
Yeah.
missed it. Why were you in Texas? You grew up there in Killeen. Why was that?
My mom, she went to nursing school.
Oh, okay.
Mike, I couldn't answer that for you, brother. I have not done Hasselbacks on a smoker. I would assume they'd eventually open up, but that one, I'm sorry, you're on your own for that one. Let us know.
Hasselback potatoes. I'm not even sure what that
Yeah,
is.
what is
They're sliced so that they're kind of like an organ, that whatever that thing is people play that music, so they kind of spread out like that, and right?
Gotcha. Wild Game Pursuit. I know you're headed to Kentucky. I've seen that on Facebook. You're going to like Central or Eastern, right? You're not Western.
Velvet buck and some sweet footage. Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, there's Kentucky's.
I think he's going to be headed that way in a brand new truck too. If I remember seeing it on Facebook.
What? Nice. That's sweet.
Yeah, a sweet little Chevy.
They all
Sweet
are. Every
Chevy.
Chevy's a sweet Chevy.
True.
Yeah, Danny says sharks do come running at you sometimes. They want to figure out what's messing with them. You're not wrong on that. I'm trying to formulate my reasoning as to why it's okay. I'll come up with something in a minute.
Look, I've seen where sharks come up and bite people's props while their motor's running just because they're pissed off. So your little flimsy flesh in the water with them ain't nothing for them. We need to do a Shark Week video with that. We need to have somebody out there snorkeling with an underwater camera. Ooh, that was bad. Is it me?
Can you hear me okay?
Ooh, it's got somebody. We can't even. We lost Grant. Steve, talk.
I'm just muted. We got an echo.
Steve, talk.
I'm here.
Okay, now what? Ah, the echo's gone.
Gone.
Yep.
The echo is gone.
Good.
Our
See you
host.
later, Stanley.
Oh, it's coming back. Golly, we didn't even get to talk about him very long.
Sorry about that.
He fixed it. We're good. So we lost Stanley again.
Yeah, Mike ended up disconnecting from me here, but I got it back on. Sorry about that.
That stuff happens every time with us, so it's all part of the show.
Yeah, it's all part of it. It's a drinking game, okay? So every time somebody has like technical equipment, you need to be taking a shot. So, cheers.
We did while you were gone.
Cheers.
So did
I'm
I.
almost out too, so slow down, guys. This is a big glass.
I just got a little ways to go yet.
Yeah, you're drinking better than me. Oh, I got a decent bottle of scotch tonight.
That back should be feeling better there, Steve.
Oh.
Yeah, fancy scotch, whatever. Jack and Coke, baby.
This is the single most inexpensive bottle available in a box at the store.
Mike says, why does Steve have a 1985 computer and he's never the issue? Mike, that's why I don't host these anymore, is because it was always an issue every time I hosted it.
Yeah, that's not a correct statement.
Yeah.
No, 85 though. He's got a Commodore as his computer.
Say, Nick, you're way behind. You're about 3 shots behind.
At least.
What's up, Nick? Good to see you, man. Yeah, you are a little bit behind here, bud.
Free hunt to Africa in spring of 2022 with me filmed. Just have to be subscribed and watch for the post on Facebook.
That's a lot of people you're inviting there, buddy.
Yeah, we're all coming now. We're all going to be in Africa.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd like to see
I
that.
had a question before all this started, but the last time I had a question, it's like I still can't remember what the hell I was going to ask you guys, and that was like 3 live streams ago.
Hey, you need to start writing this stuff down. Get you a little notepad, a little piece of paper, and a pen.
True
I think
statement.
I was going to ask you, Grant, what the hell the question was.
Oh, you were going to ask him something. We were talking about when he came to Texas. And you
Well,
were
I
going to
asked
ask him
him that's why he was in Killeen, but it was something after that, I think.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
I can remember using like corn, like little, whole kernel corn there at the, really, I think it was at where we lived at the college in the dorms or something. Going down to the creek and catching brim and little bluegill but I like 10 years old maybe. But the spot we went Friday night was where I was when I was a teenager down in the creek. And it's basically the same 25 years ago.
You're breaking up a little bit, Grant.
I am.
Yeah.
Probably my fault.
I just refreshed my signal, so I'm solid.
Oh, man. Now that made Steve look horrible when he did that.
There might be a smudge on the lens.
Yeah, big smudge.
Chairs, right?
Totally professional here.
Hey, if we have some more Captain Morgans, we won't care.
Hey, yeah, I'll drink to that.
My back is hurt right now, fellas.
Now he looks more clear and Grant looks better. There you go.
All right. Technical difficulties. Everybody take a shot.
Yep.
Take a drink.
If this stream is going to go this direction, it's already been demonetized, so let's just go ahead and do this then.
Do we even care?
Steve, where are you going fishing next?
Oh, hey, that's where I was going to ask that question to Grant.
Well, there you go.
Glad you brought it up.
Good.
My boys are going up north to go duck hunting, goose hunting up in the UP. It's a northern zone, and that's going to be 2 weeks. And after that, Grant, let's see, that's 3 weeks down the road. We're thinking maybe up to Augray if we can make this all happen. I don't know what your schedule's like, but I don't have anybody to go fishing with because Chris is gone. He got this new job, and I can probably get Jerry Toner to go fishing with me. And Grant, if you want to make a trip up, I know we talked about it before. If you'd like me to pursue that, I'll do that for you.
What weekend?
Don't really know. It's not this upcoming weekend. It might be the weekend after and the weekend after that. Because I think right after that, then we go to the mid zone for duck and goose hunting.
Okay. I'm not on call. This coming weekend is Labor Day weekend. I'm not on call. The following weekend, I'm on call. And I'm not sure about the weekend after that because we haven't got our new guy yet. But, we can talk about it behind the scenes for sure. Okay. Still looking for something to do this weekend. Not sure what to do this weekend. We got early goose season here, and I was on the backhoe today at the wastewater plant, and which is right next to the water plant. There's just a fence in between, and there was like 40 geese trying to land over at the water plant ponds, and I was loud on the backhoe, and they got down in there, and then they picked back up and flew off. So I don't know if that was locals or what, but yeah, we got early goose season coming in, I guess, Wednesday.
Danny Baker's aging himself too. AOL.
Is that aging ourselves now? AOL? Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
I lived in a time without internet, and I'm kind of, nostalgic for that a little bit.
But did any of you live in a time when you had Pong?
Pong?
Have what?
Yeah. Pong.
Remember Pong?
Oh,
Remember
sure.
Yeah.
Pong?
Absolutely.
Right before Atari.
Yeah.
Before Atari, yep.
Yep.
I cannot tell you how many beers I had playing Pong back in the day.
I didn't have that. My next door neighbor did, so I was only able to play it around his social schedule.
Ben, no, it's not too early to ask. As it stands now, go ahead and highlight his if you can. If it stands now for me and Audrey, we're still planning on renting a camper from the military up here and bringing it down. So yes, we'll be in a camper on the beach. I think Stanley, since he's fishing Sharkathon, he's planning to camp on the beach, I believe.
That's right. That's I'm not 100% sure what our plan is, but I'm 100% sure I'm going to be there in that tournament. I've got I got in okay, so I got in a little bit of an argument with some guys who I said some things I shouldn't have in a video a while back. If you guys are watching, I apologize. I said some things that I thought it was being funny. I thought it was being a joke, but I hurt some feelings in doing so, and I didn't intend to. And these guys got a little upset about it, and so I do extend my apologies on that. However, having made my apologies, now I also have to stand up and kind of represent myself a little bit here. I'll apologize all day long, but I can apologize as the guy who's just like the YouTube guy who said stupid stuff, or the guy who went out and won, or at least tried. So yeah, I'm going to double down. I'm going to go and try and win that tournament.
There you go. Good job. So yeah, Ben, I think it's really up to you if you want to camp out there. Again, pins, you got to bring everything with you because there ain't nothing down there, right? So if not, then yeah, get a hotel room and just come down during the day. Oh, yeah. Hey, Mike, you'd be surprised.
We will be there overnight.
Yeah,
we will be there overnight.
Tons of RVs and campers down on Padre Island. It's weather dependent. If we have I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, we were down there during Sharkathon, and the waves were hitting the dunes and the rain, and it was horrible. Yeah, I wouldn't want a camper. If that's the forecast, no camper. But if it's like this, when we were back down there this last time, camper would have been fine out there. We had plenty of beach. Weather was awesome. So
when you say dunes, you're talking about what would have been behind us when we were down there?
Yeah, the other side of my truck, the water was going all the way up to there.
Nice.
Yeah. Wow. So driving out that day, we were just driving in water. You couldn't see where the dips were in the beach or nothing because you're in the water driving. It was ugly.
It'll wash out those dunes. Actually, it doesn't just hit the dunes; it'll wash like 4 or 5 feet into them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huh. Okay. Well, I guess that's how they got there from the water.
Yeah, pushing the sand up there. All right, you're getting short on time, Stanley. What you got going on?
Oh, you're right. I didn't even realize that. It is that time. I have what I am hoping. Listen, anybody who's here, tomorrow is what I'm hoping to be the best video of the year. I'm hoping, and praying. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you're into that, be prepared. Throw it up on the TV, kick back, drink some whiskey, and enjoy the show. It's a little bit longer than normal. There was just nothing else I could cut out of this video. I enjoyed making it just too much. If you're not, don't worry about watching it. You're like, I have to watch this because I have to leave a comment because I have to be seen or have to. Don't worry about it. I don't want anybody sweating about that. Okay. This is my baby. This is like my video that I'm like super proud of. If you can't watch it, that's all right. I don't want anybody like feeling like that at all. If you are going to watch it, it is a little bit longer than normal. So, be prepared for that. Again, throw it on the TV, kick back and enjoy the show. If not, again, I'm not sweating that. That's what I've got going on. Grant, what have you got coming up for us? I want to hear something. I know you're going fishing this weekend.
I'll probably post those pictures from Friday night on Instagram tomorrow.
All right, let's start.
I'll take that.
Steve, what you got?
I'm just trying to read these comments about Wild Game Pursuit says, geez, Steve is going to finish that thing soon. And then Janet says, Steve, don't blame when it comes to his.
Don't play
I don't
probably means is drinking.
Yeah, probably had too much, but my God, my back is hurt. What have I got going on? Well, let's see. As far as a fishing channel, a fishing and hunting channel, my sons are going up north, and Chris and Steve said that they're going to shoot some video footage. They're going to send it to me, and I'm going to edit that, and I'm going to put it on.
Nice.
I still have got this one that we went up to Seaboing, Saginaw Bay fishing, and I've got to do that. I really do. I apologize, guys. I just have not been in the fishing mode. It's been too damn hot. I've been doing canning. I've been doing a whole lot of other shit. So I got to get back into it. And I know that time is coming. And when it does come, we're going to get back into fishing. We're going to get back into hunting. We're going to put some content back on Hall and Ash outdoors. But right now, last 2 months, my channel has just been stagnant. So we're going to change that.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong taking a break. Yeah, it is. It does. It happens. Like everybody, I'm not like the biggest, mental health proponent kind of person. I understand that's a thing. And I'm not the biggest one to stress out about that stuff. However, especially with like mental health is like the number one thing with like anybody who makes any kind of YouTube video. So dude, don't sweat it. Take your break. We're all excited and awaiting to see what, awesome adventure you got for us next. But we also need you in a good spot mentally doing that. You know what I mean? So take your time, do what you got to do, but then get back out there in the water, and we want to see some fishing.
Well, the thing too is like my channel is suffering, and I don't ever want to put this into a
not that bad. Not that bad
thing where we're rolling along, we're making some money, which I don't care about the damn money. I really don't. But it's like it's just nosedive since I haven't put any content up. So I need to put content up to make the people that watch my channel happy.
Well, and for you and anybody else in the chat, if you have any questions about that, I do work TubeBuddy. If you want to have an open conversation about how that works and what you can do to fix all of that, I'm happy to have that discussion with you. And man, if you're ever stressing about it, Steve, I'm happy to have that conversation with you, one-on-one, however you want to do it. Because that's not it's probably down right now because you haven't released content, but that's not something that can't easily be come back from.
Right.
You're going to be all right on that. You're better served taking that time and then and coming back at 110% and doing it, coming back with like a good mentality, coming back with some excitement and being excited about it as opposed to, just trying to dredge your way through getting some videos filmed.
I believe you, Stanley. Did we lose John?
I think we did. I was waiting to hear what he had for us, and then he bailed on us.
Wow.
I'm thinking John went to the bathroom.
He might have. It's been 3 minutes over an hour, so it's entirely possible.
He's old. His kidneys are busting.
Yeah. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and round that up. It might take him a minute. I'm going to go ahead and close this thing down. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Grant, Steve, John, even though you're not with us at the moment, gentlemen, it's always a pleasure. I enjoy these Monday afternoons more than you could know. It's just, it's just so much fun. Even if it's a stressful day, it's great to be able to come back here and vent. And everybody in the chat, guys, all of y'all, thank you so much. Everybody showing up every week and having a good chat with us. You make this social experience, this community. This is fun to hang out with. Cannot tell you how much we appreciate that. Y'all showing up every single week. Thank you so much. Hope you all have a great week, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Next week, have a good one. We'll catch y'all later.
Next week, we're taking off. Next week, we're taking off.
I'm sorry. That's right. We're off next week. We're going to take a break. We'll be back the following week on John's channel. Enjoy your Labor Day. Sorry about that. I completely forgot.
September 13th, we'll see you over at John's.
Have a good couple of weeks and enjoy your holiday.
Good night.
Sorry about that.